we were practicing solving quadratic equations. Remember, that's where you were putting it into a pair of brackets, and then you put an x at the beginning of the bracket, an x at the beginning of both brackets, and then you would go and work out the two magic numbers because they multiplied to be the number on the end, and they added to be the number in front of the x, the coefficient of x. But what we're actually going to be doing today is just constructing some expressions or equations, so it becomes a little bit more problem solving. So I think the first thing to do, please, if you're making notes, can you just copy out that title and the date? All right, so last lesson we were just solving. Today we're going to be constructing. It may be that you just want to not bother with notes, or that you're going to do the notes later. That's fine. Just to remind you, an expression that does not have the equal sign. Okay, so you can't ever solve that. So I'm just going to say here, no equal sign. All right, so they can't be solved. They can just be created. So they can't be solved. They can't be solved. But if you've got an equation, you know, that equals something. So these have an equal sign. So these can be solved. I think there might be only one today we've got to try and solve it. So that's the title. Now, all you've got to do with these is don't get overly worried about the fact that we've got x's and stuff. Just think, how would you do the normal maths if there weren't any x's involved? If you just had normal numbers, what maths would you do to give you the answer? So for this first one, we've been asked to find a simplified expression for the area of a rectangle. Now, how do you work out an area of a rectangle? It's just base times height. So say we just had something that was 10 along the bottom and 5 up the side. How would you find that area? You just do 10 times 5 and that would be 50. Job done. So the maths is dead easy. It's just base times height for the area of a rectangle. So you've just got to do base times height. Okay, there are some x's involved, but no big deal. So you've just got to do base times height. Now the base is 5x and the height is 4x. And then you've just got to multiply that stuff together. So remember, 5x just means 5 times x, and 4x means 4 times x. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff being times together, so you can do it any order you like. So 5 times 4 is 20, and x times x is x squared. That's our final answer. We have created an expression, and that can't be simplified. So any of the ones in the worksheet where you've just got to create an expression for the area of a rectangle, just do base times height. Now that's fine when it's a rectangle. What about when it's a triangle? So again, we've been asked to work out the area of the triangle. Now remember, a triangle takes up half the space of a rectangle. All right, it's like a rectangle cut in half. So again, just think, what would you do for a normal triangle? Say that was 5 and that was 10. You'd say 5 times 10 is 50, and you would halve it, giving 25. So you would just do half of 5 times 10, and that would give you 25. So you've just got to do that with this. Okay, there are x's involved, but that's no big deal. So you've got to do half times the base times the height. So I'm going to leave that half there for now. I'm going to come back to that bit. Let's do 8x times 3x, or 8 times x times 3 times x. 8 times 3 is 24, and x times x is x squared. So it's half times 24 times x squared. What's half of 24? That is 12. So it's 12 times x squared, which is 12x squared. Okay, simple enough, I think. So area of a rectangle, just do base times height. Area of a triangle, do half times base times height. Now, the worksheet includes some that are a bit trickier. So let's say we've got one of these. We've got to find an area for the expression of the area. Well, it's base times height. So we've got to do the base. Obviously, the base is the same as the top length. The base is 2x plus 1, and the height is x plus 2. Now remember how you multiply out a pair of brackets. You do 2x times x, which is 2x squared. You do 2x times 2, which is 4x. And then I'll just change colour for the bottom clause. You then do 1 times x, which is 1x, which is x, and 1 times plus 2, which is plus 2. So that's expanded. You've then got to simplify. So remember, when you simplify, you gather up the terms which are similar. You gather up the like terms. So we can gather up those x's in the middle. So our final answer here would be 2x squared, which is unchanged. They're the only x squareds. 4x plus x, which is 5x. And then the plus 2 on the end. And that will be our final answer for an expression for the area. Okay, it's an expression. There's no equal sign. You can't solve it. You can just tidy it up. Right, now the final one example I wanted to go through with you.
Sorry, can you go back so I can write it down?
Absolutely, no problem at all, Fran. So I've just gone back. And that's absolutely fine. And do remember those, if I ever do go a bit quickly for you, the recording will automatically go onto Teams, and then a bit later in the day I'm popping them all onto YouTube anyway, and then copying the link back onto Teams as well, because I think that, okay, cheers, Fran, no worries. Okay, so the final example I wanted to go through for you, and a bit more complicated. There's a few like this on the worksheet. Say we've got to work out the area of the light blue shaded area. So it's not the whole of the big rectangle. The area want is it's if it was the whole of the blue rectangle, then you've got to take away that little white rectangle that's been cut away. So what you've got to do here to work out the area of the shaded area, we're going to have to work out the area as if it was one great big rectangle, and we're going to have to take away the area of that small rectangle. So how do we work out the area of the big rectangle? Just imagining the white bit wasn't inside of it. You would take the base, which is 2x plus 1, and you would multiply by the height, which is 4. So we'll do that in a minute. Once we've worked that out, we're going to have to take away the area of the little white rectangle, which has got a base of x minus 5 and a height of 3. So let's just do these bit by bit. So we're going to start off working out the area of the big rectangle. So 2x plus 1 times 4, or turning it around the other way, 4 times 2x plus 1. So do the claw, 4 times 2x and 4 times plus 1. 4 times 2x is 8x, and 4 times 1 is plus 4. So that's the area of the big rectangle, as if there wasn't the little white bit inside it. But there is that little bit of white bit inside it, which we're going to have to take away to work out the light blue shaded bit. So we're going to have to take away the area of the second one, which is 3 times x minus 5. So 3 times x and 3 times minus 5. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times minus 5 is minus 15. So we've got to do 8x plus 4 and then take away 3x minus 15.
Sir, can
yes.
you let Layla in? It's not letting her in.
It's not letting who in?
Layla.
Layla, okay, thanks very much. I will go and let Layla in. Sorry,
Okay.
Layla. So what do I need to do? I think I thought I had meant to switch off the lobby. So I think this is a bit awkward. I think to do this, I've got to think. Let me go and just have a look. I think I have to stop the record, stop the sharing this. I can't see Layla. Oh yeah, Layla's there. Layla's in. Attendees. I've got Layla in there. You might not be able to see it, but I can actually see that Layla is attending now. So hopefully that's already been sorted. Let me go back to, oh, you can still see the split screen, can't you? Okay, so let me go try and get this nice split screen done. So I think for me to get it back, I've got to lose the split screen so you can't see it now, then bring it back, and then go it again. So hopefully in a few seconds we see James Bond and then we'll see the split screen in a second, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. So we've got to that bit at the bottom. We've got to do 8x plus 4 take away 3x. Now you've got to be ever so careful here, particularly with the second bit. So 8x take away 3x, well that's fair enough. That's just 8x take away 3x, which is 5x. Now be very careful with the next bit. It's 4 take away minus 15. 4 take away minus 15. Now, when you minus a minus, you are actually adding overall. Well, this has actually got to be 4 add 15, which is 19, plus 19. So our final answer is 5x plus 19. So be very careful with that one. It would be ever so easy to do 4 take away 15 and think it is minus 11. But it's 4 take away minus 15, which is 4 plus 15, which is 19. So that's it on the ones I wanted to spend time with on the recording. There are one or two at the end of the worksheet that are a bit trickier, but I thought I would just help you with those when you got there, rather than just make this recording too long. So what you want to do now, please go and do the questions that are on Dr. Frost. I will, on my second screen, open up the analysis so I can see how you're getting on. I will stop this recording. So once I've done that, if any of you want to unmute or you want to have your cameras on, that's absolutely fine. And just like we were in lessons, I will share screen with the questions that you're doing. And then if you get stuck, just say, look, can you help me with question 1? Can you help me with question 2 and what have you? I have gone and attached the questions as a Word document onto where I've scheduled this lesson. So if you want to download the questions and work on the worksheet, you could either have done that before the lesson or you can do that now. Or if you don't want to do that, you can just look at the questions on Dr. Frost and just do your workings in your orange book or something. I don't mind either way. As long as you're uploading your answers onto Dr. Frost, I'm happy with how you choose to do it. So I'm just going to stop this recording now. Stop recording.